France has laid out a new plan for tackling the spread of Islamic extremism in schools, prisons and on the internet. As part of the drive, counselling will also be given to the children of Islamic State fighters who've returned to France following the collapse of the terrorist group's so-called Caliphate. RT Charlotte Dubensky reports from Paris.
They're just children, born innocent into a world of brutality. But while most children are playing with dolls and cars, these are being taught to play with guns and knives. And some have even been trained to kill.
Well, I mean, it will depend on each individual, I think. Certainly the Cubs of the Caliphate, I believe they're called, would be actually training in guns, knives and how to kill people. And not only that, will have seen people being killed, and of course that makes it some form of normality for them, which is really scary, because that means when they do grow up, that will be their normality and more likely to make them go and do something very similar, that are a real threat to society.
It's impossible to know just how many children have been brainwashed by ISIL, but they have already started to return home to Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands. Meanwhile, in France, the authorities are putting together a plan to reintegrate the returning children of jihadis. The Prime Minister has said that 68 have already come back. Many more are expected to follow.
Programmes to help these children readjust have been announced by governments across Europe. But is it too late to reverse the damage already done? Videos like this have emerged showing children carrying out mock executions.
The little children are not only victims, but they're on the cusp of being forced into being perpetrators. But in the video that we just saw, you see the sadism of the adults being played out through the children, so that they are destroying the mental capacity for the child to differentiate between reality and fantasy. It normalizes murder.
The road ahead for these children, she says, is difficult. And while there's no guarantee the therapy they receive will be successful, she is hopeful.
If the child had a fairly good emotional experience early, the child will tend to be more resilient in coming through very severe traumas. That's one thing. The other thing will be very much dependent on how well trained the therapists are.
Governments in Europe hope that by offering care and support to the children who return, they can help them cast off the horrors they have endured or even carried out. And yet the risks are still high that it might be too late to right the wrongs of children brainwashed and raised as ISIL fighters. Charlotte Dubensky, RT, Paris.